That was on the Colonel Kurtz KURTZ YouTube channel. An intern who goes by the name of Ewood came out publicly to say Lively was a bully. He actually gave an interview on those allegations.
Thing is, so I saw Leighton and she was very nice. I just
Thanks for the shout out, Megyn Kelly. I did do a follow-up interview with him a month ago where he was ready to talk about a couple of things that he had mentioned to me months ago, but said he wasn't ready to go on record about, because I think, it was early on. And I think there was a lot of sort of fear of like if Blake Lively would retaliate or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to show some clips of that. So Megyn Kelly, if you happen to see this, here's a little more about that story than you were privy to, and may even want to have this guy on your show. I'm sure he would be willing to talk to you. Welcome back. This is my friend Ewood, a British musician. And years ago, he happened to cross paths professionally with Blake Lively. I had talked to you earlier just a bit about some of your experiences, but one thing that people need to know is that we were hesitant back then about telling the full story because that was very early on. And so there was stuff left out, there was vagueness or whatever. So I want people to understand that now that the dust is settled, and I think that you feel more comfortable telling us what went on with all of that. So anyways, welcome. And let's just start at the beginning. So for those who don't know this story at all, you met Blake Lively where you were doing some kind of an internship, or you were working on a production assistant as a production assistant on her Gossip Girl show, right? And she was in Paris. Am I getting that right? Okay, tell me the story.
Well, so I always wanted to work on set, So a friend from a friend, and they said to me, "Okay, so there's going to be a big show, happening, and would you like to come around?" And so you'll be, working with the technical team, and if there is something move around, for me, because it was a lot more like, okay, so I'm going to get like experience. So I was excited about that, and so he come to greet me, to say hi and say, okay, and tell me, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then the first person that I saw is Meester, and I say hi to her, and then move along. And then I see Blake Lively, I say hi to her. Silence, nothing else, So I just continue my day.
This is something, by the way, that you had mentioned months ago, was that she was just she was chilly, she was cold, and she didn't acknowledge you, which people were saying back then. There were some people, I think most people understood where we were coming from with that, but some people were saying, well, what's the big deal? She doesn't have to acknowledge you. The point is that there were these other people like Leighton Meester who were very, very friendly. And then you have this one person who's working with you and can't even muster any acknowledgement on even a professional, cordial level, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, it was my first experience working on set and directly on such a big show. And at that time I was 23 years old, and I was like, okay, I just want to make sure I'm doing my job properly. So it was very strange, like to have like Leighton saying hi to me and smiling at me, and then you have like Blake, I'm saying hi and she didn't reply, so it was very strange. And then when I had to move things around, then because Leighton and Blake, they have, you have like Leighton white trailers was here and Blake trailers was here, so they were close to each other, so now I had to, with other people, they told us like just to make sure like there was enough water, there was enough things to, if there was anything to move, just be ready, and every time that I was going closer to Blake Lively, trailer, it was always an issue, like the energy was bad. And I think at that time I was worried because
I'm sorry. It's so funny. It's so funny and so true. I'm not making fun of you. The energy was bad.
No, that's so true, because I could feel like the difference with Leighton and her.
I know what you mean.
And the thing is, because it was in Paris, and a lot of people on set, well, I think they were talking in English, but I think some people didn't understand English properly. So what I'm going to say right now is like she was making fun of me. So I don't remember exactly what she said, but I remember the feeling that I had. Like I was just felt like, okay, she's making fun of me, and I think she don't. I think she thought, okay, I don't understand what she's saying. She was talking with someone from her team. I don't recall who it was, but yeah, she was making fun of me. Yeah, but I could tell like she was making fun of me. And back then, so I was 23 years old, and I was so I was impressed because I knew about the show, so it was like, okay, it's such a huge opportunity, for me. So I just want to make sure I'm doing my job properly. But yeah, she was making fun of me, but I was not the only one. Other people around, and yeah, just her energy was just bad, and she was like just mean, evil. And I think at that time when we spoke the first time, I was just like, I don't know, I was afraid, and at the same time, I don't know why I was afraid because it was just,
Well, a lot of people are
you
afraid to
know,
talk. Well, look at what she's doing to all of these content creators, even
yeah,
content
that's
creators who have less than 1,000 followers and who aren't even like covering this assiduously. Like there are some content creators on that who are pretty random,
yeah,
and lots of small content creators, people whose lives are being disrupted. And here's the thing that I'm getting at here is that we can blow off the legal stuff and say, well, it's not really that big of a deal. She can't do anything to you. And that's always my attitude. But I've been in this game for years and years. But if you're just a normal person and living a normal life, it is really daunting to say anything against someone who has the money and the power to throw a lawsuit at you, even a lawsuit that's entirely baseless, or in this case, subpoenas that are going out to these content creators. So I totally
yeah.
understand your fear on that.
Yeah, that's the reason, at that time I was like, but once again, I just don't even know why I was afraid like this because I don't think I'm saying something crazy. It's just like I'm just explaining how rude she was,
Right.
and I think she still is. And like she was just evil, like my first experience like working on such a big show, you can just imagine, how I felt at that time. And yeah, it's not a big deal because it's not like she used like the N word or she done something, you know,
Egregious.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that. But the
Right.
thing is, she said in her lawsuit, like when she was talking about Justin Baldoni, she said like toxic environment. And I think it's funny because when I was on set, she was the one who was doing like this toxic environment,
Mm.
and the
Hmm.
thing is,
That's
and
such
and
a
that's
good
why,
point. Wait, that is stop for a second. That is such a good point you're making here. Is this is somebody, and this is something that we have been saying too about Justin Baldoni and what he went through with her, and all what the whole like. It sounds like what many of the crew went through with her. What
yeah,
we're talking about here is that this woman sees toxic workplace behavior in other people's behavior, but she doesn't realize that she herself is a walking toxicity, and she's got this terrible
she,
attitude and that's all you're testifying to here today. That's all that you're saying is that, look, I've worked around this woman, I interacted with this woman, I observed this woman, and this is a toxic person.
yeah, yeah,
So
totally. And the thing is, I think because also I'm a singer and I'm independent. I was also scared about that. The fact that I'm making things happening in my career. As
mhm,
a independent singer, and I was afraid because her and Ryan are very powerful. That
right.
if I'm saying too much, but once again, I don't think like just saying someone is rude and being evil and disrespectful to the crew, and it's such a
Right.
big deal. But anyway,
So
and so
did you observe this kind of behavior toward other people at any times?
yes, but it was like people like in the same level as myself, because she was not talking this way to, let's say, the director, people in a higher,
Mhm,
position. It was always
mhm.
like people in the lower position,
Right,
positive, because it was just,
right.
I was scared, when she didn't reply to me when I said hi to her, and then she was acting strangely when I was close to her trailer. I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm going to be fired, or maybe I'm going to be in trouble just because I said hi. So I
Did you
think it was
observe her being like that with other people?
yes, yeah, it
Yeah,
was more about like the position. I mean, like I
I
was like
gotcha.
for her, I was below her, so she
Right,
doesn't have to acknowledge me. You know what I mean? So
right.
it was more about that. But like you said, some people will be like, oh well, she didn't acknowledge you. She didn't say she doesn't reply back to you, and so what? But yeah, they're missing the point, because the point is, she's, been, saying that she suffered from working on a very toxic environment with, people not being respectful to her and whatever. And what I'm just trying to say is, like, when the experience that I had with her was just not good. She was not
Right.
a good person to be around. It was funny because, for those who watch the show, on the show, that's the opposite. Like, Leighton is supposed to be the bitch. Like, she's not a good person on the show, but in real life, that was like the opposite.
Well, I think that, again, this just gives people a bit more of an indication of one person's impression, of their experience with Blake Lively. And look, I mean, nobody has anything good to say about her except Salma Hayek, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, it's what you're saying is confirming what a number of other people have said on social media and elsewhere, and what we ourselves know from what we observe, what we have all observed her trying to do to Justin Baldoni. She has tried and is trying, along with Ryan Reynolds, to destroy this man and this studio. She destroyed the studio's philanthropic endeavors, you probably know this, right? Like Steve Sarowitz had to close down the Wayfarer Foundation, basically, not the studio, but the foundation. Mm-hmm. The studio work continues, but this is a dangerous game. And again, this is why people are afraid to speak out. This story that you have told me, I have heard many versions of this behind the scenes from various other people, and people actually have much worse things to say about her. And that's why Candace Owens said, months ago when this whole thing started, that when she worked at Glamour magazine as an intern years ago, her editor told her, who deals with celebrities all the time, right, told her that the person with the worst reputation that she'd ever encountered or known of was Blake Lively.
My point is, there is no smear campaign, because a lot of us behind the scenes knew that she's not a good person, and it's been since 2010, and we are in 2025. So,
were you a part of the smear campaign, though? Did Justin Baldoni? This is what I think happened. This billionaire Steve Sarowitz, he invented a time machine, and he sent someone back to start the smear campaign in 2010. It started with you. You're like that dude in Tenet.
Hey, you never did tell me who recruited you, Neil. You did. Have a future in the past.
No,
I'm sorry. I would have failed here.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's I don't know. I just felt like, and I don't know. I just don't understand how somebody can be so evil, honestly. Because the thing is, there were so many people. Even when I talked to you the first time after our first interview, a lot of people sent me private messages and said to me, like, share with me, like, experiences they had with Blake. Like, it's another level in terms of the time they spent with her, the whole things she said, or her behavior.
Awful things. Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, most of them are afraid to go public, public and say, okay, this is what happened when I worked with her. And I totally understand.
So you've been getting messages, you're saying you've been getting messages from people saying that they've worked with her or they've encountered her, and that they have really, some of them, much worse stories than you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
all right, there is a part 2 of this interview where he discusses one more experience that he had with Blake Lively, and also gets into some things that he heard from other crew members, interns, people on set. So there will be a part 2 coming out in the next few weeks, unless, of course, Megyn Kelly wants to have him on her show and she can break that scoop there, the remaining details he has to give. So everybody, I am back, and I did a live stream the other night where I talked about why I've been away for over a month and where I'm at now with Baldoni versus Blake Lively, and also Marilyn Manson, and some of the other stuff that I've been doing and what my plan is in the future for these topics. It was a great live stream. So check it out. I'll link to it below. I'm also doing a birthday live stream on the 2nd. Maybe I'll even do it tomorrow. I don't know, but my birthday is the 2nd, and I wanted to do a comeback birthday live stream as well. So look for that soon. And as always, I appreciate your support. My PayPal link is below. Also, my guest, Ewood, he is working on a documentary about mental health. He tragically lost his brother to suicide, and so he's working on a project there. You can check him out and his work, and his links are below. Thanks again, everybody, for your support. I am back, and I'm sure Blake Lively, for one, is very thrilled about that.